I am picking Lopez. I put the poll in the chat room, guys. Tell me your pick. But before I even look at the poll, I'm doing my best not to look at it right now. I'm going to tell you why I think Diego Lopez is going to win. I think, first of all, he's so much better on the ground. If Volkanovski takes Diego Lopez on the ground, he's going to get caught in a hornet's nest, a spider web of submissions, armbars, triangles, K-guard, leg locking, like he did to Movsar. He spins around in K-guard. Guys, what's my favorite guard? Ask me what my favorite guard is. The K-guard, who uses K-guard in MMA, one of the few guys. Diego Lopez. I think if Diego Lopez gets taken down, and we all know Volk can do it. He's an incredible wrestler. He's much shorter, so it's very likely if they get into a scramble, he'll reach for those legs. He's closer to the legs than Diego is. Diego doesn't really initiate takedowns. Volk is most likely to score a takedown. And if he does, believe me, he will get caught in a web of attacks. Armbars, triangles, and K-guard attacks, which I love, which lead to leg locks and like heel hooks, knee bars. We saw him sink a deep knee bar on Movsar. Movsar being saved by the bell. It seemed like he was saved by the bell. It seemed like he was such a deep knee bar. And when the bell rang, it seemed to have kind of saved him. An incredibly close fight between him and Movsar. I think taking down Lopez is a recipe for disaster. And what about the striking realm? Well, again, I pick Lopez. I think Lopez has too much power. Volkanovski is coming off back-to-back KOs. Now, I love Volkanovski. Let me tell you why I love Volkanovski. I love him for many reasons. But one reason I really love him, and I think he's a legend forever, and I told him this when I saw him in England. I saw him in Manchester. I was so happy that he fought Makhachev when Charles Oliveira stepped down, or he was injured, or whatever it was. Who steps up? Alexander Volkanovski, giving us the rematch that we all wanted. Of course, their first match was legendary. Makhachev fighting Volkanovski in the first match. Lots of controversy. We talked about it for hours on this channel. Who won? How should we score it? It was a very close fight. He steps in, short notice, saves the card, saves our Saturday night. It was an incredible gesture on his part for the MMA community. For that, we were always going to love him. But the reality is, he's got kicked in the head. He got hurt. He got stumbled. Makhachev put on the finishing strikes with his hands, with his fists, I should say. And then Volkanovski comes back to step up at 145 to fight Topuria. Now, we all know how that ended. It was a shocking finish, all of a sudden finish. Round one was very close. Everybody has their opinions on what happened in round one. I thought it was very close. The count strike, I would say Volkanovski had it. The damage, I think Topuria landed more damage. So ultimately, I think I gave it to Topuria round one. But round two, obviously, Topuria cut him off, landed shots that Volkanovski couldn't handle. He went back down. He's been knocked out 2 times in a row, and now he's going up against a very hard-hitting, young, explosive jiu-jitsu machine. It's going to be a tough battle, guys. That's why I think he can't win it on the feet. He can't win it on the ground. Anywhere he goes, it's a very, very difficult place for him. I think Lopez wins by finish. I think Lopez wins either by submission or a KO of some sort. Now, of course, Volk can go to decision with anybody. He's super tough. He's super skilled on the ground. He's super skilled standing up. He's a great wrestler. I just think Lopez is a great finisher. And, if it wasn't for, when he fought Ortega, he knocked Ortega, he discombobulated him badly. And his follow-up strikes revived Ortega. Like, if he had stopped punching, I think he would have won by TKO. But the fact that he kept punching him, he kind of revived Ortega. I think it was round 1 or 2. I can't remember, but it was an incredible performance. That was the fight that happened at the Sphere. Another incredible performance by Diego Lopez. I think this is a Diego Lopez fight. Diego Lopez is going to win on the ground or standing up, and I think it's going to be a finish. Guys, now I'm going to take a quick look. 73% are saying Volk. Amazing. Again, we disagree. Now, that's cool. I like that. I can't wait to do the post-fight analysis and find out which one of us, me or the crowd, is correct. Okay, guys, let's talk about only this fight, and then after that, I'll open it up to ask me anything. But right now, it's just about this fight, no other fight. Coach, I love your podcast with Jake Shields. Thank you very much. Guys, we're talking about this fight. Bryce Mitchell. No, guys, we're doing only this fight, gentlemen. Stay disciplined. Stay disciplined, please. Volk, too crafty, too experienced, too bald. That's from Larry Bird. Larry Bird, you're right. He's got the experience level. He's got the 5-round fights in the bag. I don't think cardio is going to be too much of an issue. I think Diego Lopez, he seems to me, and I'm just taking a guess here, he seems to be in incredible shape. Now, he is a fiery guy. When he fights, you can kind of see he sprints. He's got that raw energy. He's got that explosiveness that he just seems to never have ending amount of energy. But could he get tired in the later rounds? It's always possible. We haven't seen him in his championship rounds. We haven't seen him yet. And we know Volk is reliable in those championship rounds. So much so, he's the first guy, I think, to ever really fatigue Makhachev. Makhachev in round 5 seemed fatigued against Volk. So yes, I would say that that's a possibility. I won't say it's not a possibility. I just think Lopez is too crafty on the ground, too crafty standing up. And he's just not going to be put in such bad positions that he's going to gas out. Salam and dua from Pakistan. Coach, love you for the sake of Allah. Daniel, Jazakallah khair, and same to you, my friend. Jazakallah khair. Volk's striking is superior. That's from MJ. MJ, I got to tell you, I have to disagree. I think it's going to be close. I think it's going to be competitive. But I feel that Lopez is too powerful. His chin is healthier. I think he's going to win. I think Lopez is going to win. Lopez is quick, man. He's quick. Volk is going to throw shots, and Lopez is going to counter him. That's my opinion. He did it to Ortega. I think he's going to do it to Volkanovski. I think Volkanovski is also going to kick the leg. And I don't know if that's going to work out for him. I think Lopez is going to have the reach and explosiveness to cut that distance before Volk can chop those legs. Volk feints alone will be super effective. Volk's feints alone will be super effective. I think Lopez isn't ready yet for a high-level fight. That's from Ali 7. Well, he fought Ortega, That was, a guy who fought for 2 world title fights, So how can he not be ready? Ortega's as seasoned as they come. So I wouldn't agree with that. I think he's ready for Volk. And the thing is, Volk also has 2 back-to-back KOs. How much does that hurt his health? Well, we're going to find out Saturday. Guys, this is a fight I'm super excited about. Why? I think Volk is obviously one of the greatest of all time. But you have Lopez that's a shooting star. He's a shooting star. It's like, wow. This is a great fight. Salam, Coach. So you think Volk has recovered 100%? That's from Yusuf. No, I don't think so. I think 2 bad knockouts in a row is something very difficult to come back from. Very difficult. Mojo Joe, Jazakallah khair, man. That's very sweet of you. Thank you very much. Do you think long hair is at a disadvantage in a fight? That's from Guess Goes? What's how to pronounce your name? No, I don't think Lopez's hair is going to be an advantage or disadvantage. I think it's irrelevant whatsoever. What would your game plan be if you were Volk's coach? Mix in takedowns? That's from Lebanese Mamba. Lebanese Mamba, I don't think he should take Lopez to the ground. I think he's going to get in more trouble than not. So I would tell him, look, if you're going to get a takedown, it has to be up against the fence because this guy's going to spin underneath you. Guys, you know me. I love K-Guard. I posted so many videos of me training and rolling, and I love K-Guard. I released a K-Guard video that I love. Guys, use Get 55 off, the promo code. I released also a new guillotine video, guillotine escape video. Guillotine escape, guys, you have to know your guillotine escapes. Of course, go to jujucup.com, get 55% off anything. Punch in the promo code. If you forget to punch in the promo code, there's nothing I can do. Guys, I love K-Guard. Who uses K-Guard? Lopez. Lopez is a tremendous K-Guard player. I wouldn't, if I was Volk's trainer, I wouldn't tell him to go to the ground. Not until you break him, weaken him. He's very dangerous on the ground. Guys, when you want to see jiu-jitsu done right, watch Lopez. That is jiu-jitsu done right. Now, I know against Mofsar, he got hit a lot in the first round where he got taken down in guard and he was kind of playing guard. He was getting hit a lot. I would say, okay, you're right. But he still did so many good things. Defensively, he wasn't perfect. But offensively, he was very, very aggressive. And he was getting Mofsar in a lot of trouble. Okay, now, can it be fixed? Could he avoid getting hit so much? Yes, I think so. There's lots of room for improvement. I think he's figuring it out. He's converting from jiu-jitsu to MMA. I'm sure he's grown a lot since then because there's a lot of things I would have loved to show him to avoid all those shots that he took. But nonetheless, his jiu-jitsu is incredibly offensive and it's done beautifully. What is Volk's highest probability road to victory? That's from MJ. MJ, he's got to put one on Lopez, his chin. He's got to hurt Lopez. I think Lopez is faster in terms of reaction. He's longer. I think he's going to outpoint Volk. I think Volk has to hurt him or fatigue him, which is not going to be easy. But he's got to hurt him. He's got to slow him down. It's not easy. He's the shorter man. He's got to counter the taller man. But it's hard to counter the taller man when the other taller man is younger and faster. Okay, so in my opinion, Lopez also has the speed advantage. So that's why I'm putting Volk as an underdog. Actually, I don't know what the betting lines are. I don't know who the favorite is. I haven't looked at it. But I would pick Lopez. Now, you guys are telling me we're at 70% for Volk, and now we dropped down to 66. I'm looking at it now. Maybe I'm influencing the polls in the chat room. But I don't know what the betting line opened up as. I have no idea. But I assume, personally, I would assume Lopez is the favorite. That's just me, how I see things. But I could be completely wrong. Yeah, the poll says who wins. And then you have a choice between Volk or Lopez. Who do you think wins? Who do you think wins? If neither Islam or Ortega were able to finish Volk, do you really think Lopez can pull it off? Well, don't forget, Makhachev did finish Volk in their second fight. And then he was finished by Topuria. Now, Topuria is in the class of his own. Can Lopez reach that level? I think so. Sorry. Mario Varga wants to correct that. He says submit. Yes, Volkanovski wasn't submitted by Islam Makhachev nor by Ortega. But yes, I do believe that Islam Makhachev and or Lopez can submit Volk. Maybe not Ortega because I don't know if he's physically strong enough. He doesn't have that level of athleticism. But just because Volkanovski didn't get subbed by Makhachev doesn't mean in their rematch. Like Makhachev didn't knock him out in the first fight, but he knocked him out in the second fight. So does it hold true that if Islam didn't knock him out around the first fight, would you tell yourself, hey, he can't knock him out in the second fight? Was that what you would tell yourself? That's known as the gambler's fallacy, by the way. Just because something happened in the past doesn't mean it's going to happen in the future. Just because red came up on the roulette table doesn't mean red is coming up next on the roulette table. So Islam Makhachev didn't knock out Volkanovski in their first fight. In the second fight, would you tell me, hey, he can't knock him out because he didn't do it in the first? That's not how things work. Okay, so you could wrestle somebody 5 times and only sub him the 5th time, or only sub him the 2nd time. Not necessarily in the other times you match with him, okay? There's probabilities of subbing somebody, probabilities of knocking out somebody. It doesn't mean they're going to come to fruition, okay? So it's really important not to think like that. It's a gambler's fallacy. Just because 2 or 3 guys didn't sub him doesn't mean the last guy's not going to sub him, okay? So I think that we're going to see a bit of a different Volkanovski, Volkanovski who's been knocked out twice in a row. I think he's going to be a bit outgunned by Lopez. Again, this is my speculation, guys. This is my speculation. That's why we do this, right? I want to hear what you guys think because I see it as Lopez is going to be able to outgun him on the feet. And Volk is going to shoot, try to take down, and he's going to be stuck between a rock and a hard place. The striking of Lopez and the ground of Lopez. Do you believe Volk can get a finish? That's from Renaissance Man. Of course he can get a finish. Of course, he's one of the greats. He can pull it off. I think his chances of finishing is more on the feet. So striking with a KO or hurting Lopez so much on the feet that he gets on top of him. He puts on a choke, an arm triangle, a leg triangle, maybe an arm bar possibly or something. But Lopez would have to be pretty discombobulated. He would have to be pretty close to the end of his rope. Is Volkanovski's shorter and muscular neck going to make it harder for him to be submitted? That's from Abdullah Jama. Yes, it's going to be harder. Doesn't make it impossible. It's harder to leg lock or armbar or guillotine shorter, muscular, like fire hydrant type builds. Okay, trust me. I've wrestled countless people in my life, thousands and thousands of people. That build is a little bit harder. It's actually harder to submit because their arms are so the levers are shorter. Okay, the levers, I should say. The levers are shorter. Still doesn't make it impossible. Now, don't forget, this is MMA where you can elbow a guy, you can knee a guy, you can punch him. So when you take him to the ground, sometimes he's kind of cooked. All right. Now, I would tell you that I could see Lopez winning with a knee bar, triangle with the legs, arm triangle of any kind, like anaconda, darce, guillotine as well, because I think he's really, he seems to me to be very strong and athletic. Okay. And he knows his jiu-jitsu very well. Every time I see him move on the ground, I'm like, wow, this guy's doing it right. Now, there are some critiques for sure, defensively speaking, but offensively speaking, he's stellar. Now, Volk is not really a submission guy, so he's more of a positional guy. So the defense is not going to be so problematic. If Volk will manage to bring the experience he gained with the fights against Max, he will win. That's from Jonathan. Jonathan, I agree with you. He has a lot of experience. And those fights for sure taught him a lot. And he was in there with one of the most offensively successful fighters. Max Holloway has, I think, the record, or he's in the top 3, top 5 maximum, not more than top 5, of most significant strikes landed in fights. Like his output, his offense is statistically incredible. Max Holloway statistically is one of the best strikers ever to do it. So of course, he learned a lot about guys with a lot of volume. He did 3 fights with Max. They all went 5 rounds. Like he spent a lot of time with a guy who's the best at getting his offense together. I just think Lopez is a different animal. He has a level of explosiveness and damage that Max doesn't have. Lopez can do more damage in a shorter period of time. Max Holloway can do more damage in a longer period of time. Okay, so over 25 minutes, maybe it's Max Holloway that does more damage to somebody. But in a short period of time, I think it's Lopez. And that kind of explosiveness, that kind of volatility can be very difficult to deal with. Why? Because you lapse for a second, you step the wrong way, all of a sudden, boom, you're out. Boom, you're out. This guy ain't going to pick at you. Holloway, you make a mistake, he hurts you, but not so bad that he puts you out. He's going to put you out with cumulative strikes. So you'd have to repeat your error multiple times. Look at Taporia for a second. Volk made a mistake, and it was over. It was over. Those kind of fighters, if you make a mistake, you might not be forgiven. Whereas a guy with Max, you make a mistake, he hits you here, hits you there. You realize it's a bad idea. You start changing. You start adapting. You start closing off the gaps that they found. And there's a seesaw battle that ensues. With Lopez, you don't necessarily get a second chance. Coach, hello. Lopez is like Shafkat. They have something mysterious. That's from Amir. Amir, I agree. There's something pretty incredible. But Shafkat is in the league of his own that way. I think Lopez is kind of clear. He's got stellar technique. He's super aggressive. He looks for finishes. He's super explosive. He has great reaction time. You know, guys, we cannot underestimate Ortega's boxing skills. He's an incredible boxer. And even he was getting counterpunched by Lopez. Lopez is a dangerous counterpuncher. When you throw a shot at him, he has the reaction time, the eyes to slip out of the way and land a devastating counter, okay, which is really something scary to fight.